As we speak, I'm moving in to 40 apartments in 3 cities. Let's talk about how I pull it off. My name's Sean Rocky Geach, this is Airbnb Automated, and let's show you how to Airbnb. Welcome back, Airbnb family. So you don't recognize the background, it's a new Airbnb, happens all the time, right? So let me tell you a story about this one specifically as we ramp up into this, because by the end of this video, I want to talk to you about the nature of the different deals that I'm doing, because they're each different, and what it takes to scale an Airbnb business. We are in 3 scenarios simultaneously. I'm in Houston, I'm in Dallas, and I'm in Philadelphia all this week. I'm going to be showing up to all 3 cities to try to get this done, because if I don't get this done, I don't get to go to Colombia on the 16th, which should have happened on the 12th, but it's getting pushed back. It's kind of nerve-wracking. So what's up with this space? This is apartment number 3 of 8, and let me run some footage for you. When we first showed up at this place, they were barren. What we did in this case, 8 of our 40 units are a takeover. There's a fan of the channel who has a ton in the Philippines, and he's crushing it in the Philippines, but he's got these 8 apartments in the Galleria of Houston, and he's losing money on them. So I took them over, and basically I just took over the leases and started buying furniture and stuff. So we're gonna talk about these deals. We're gonna talk about 10 more that I'm taking in Houston. Medical center area, for those of you who want to know, who know Houston. That's a fresh deal, first set of leases with that property. We're doing an option add-on in Dallas, which is where we negotiated a package of properties from one landlord, and if we liked the deal, we would take more. So that's a different type of deal that we did. And then we're doing a 21 apartment like lease up for an empty building, still kind of finishing construction right now, in Philadelphia, which is kind of a different deal. So there's a lot to unpack here in this video. So this video may take 15, 20 minutes. I hope you can sit down, strap yourselves in, get out a notebook. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. And of course, like this video, please. Let me just tell you, if you like the video, that's good. If you comment, that's even better. And if you share this video, somehow YouTube knows that. So do it all, like, share, subscribe if you're new to the channel, leave me some comments. Like for example, you guys who have been telling me what videos you'd like me to do content on, you guys are awesome. Thank you for that. And I'd like to know what you think. If you like this kind of content, if you have any feedback, just please jump on in while I'm talking at you. So let's talk about each deal, and then I'm gonna talk to you at the end of the video how I'm doing them all at the same time and tips for doing them all at the same time. Sound good? Okay, so this deal specifically, this takeover, how am I getting this done? Well, first off, what we had to do is we had to go look at his original calendars and find out who he had staying what days, and we had to kind of coordinate which leases, which specific apartments we could upgrade in between guests, and which guests we wanted to keep and not want to keep. We're kind of in that spot right now. So where we are essentially is in apartment number 3 here. Like I showed you before, this one was pretty barren. We did a couple other ones, and I'll show you some photos of those. We didn't have to do anything special, but there's a theme here. He had just a couch, coffee table, TV stand, wall-mounted TV, etc., and then he's got some beds. Now here's everything that I've changed so far in the units that we're done with. We've added carpets. They help like frame the space, and they help create this contrast of color between the wood and everything else. We, in this case, bought a new coffee table so we could steal this coffee table, take it to another unit that did not have a coffee table. Since this space had a weird small couch, what we did is we decided to change its angle, and that's why we bought this circular coffee table. We bought this one because if we had a big, longer couch, then we could have that long couch and then a square coffee table all facing the TV, and it would seem more natural. With this one, we needed to find a new way to do the space or buy a new couch. So I'm like, well, instead of buying a new couch, buy a circular coffee table and buy an accent chair, utilize the couch that's still here, and then find a way to lay them out so that way they'll look good in the photos. Let me show you a photo of what it looks like without me standing in front of it. So we also bought some greenery, super, super important, and these are attached to a switch. The lights, how cool is that? So we've been in love with warm lights lately. I just think that they really help with the photos. The warm light kind of has this more inviting look than the cold light. I have a cold light right here. It's very much white. You can see it on my hand. It's like reflective. That light is on my face, which allows you to see me pretty clearly, but these lights just make the space better. So what we've done here just in the living rooms is we've decided to buy colorful pillows, which didn't exist, colorful throw blankets, things that'll pop like off of the furniture itself. Basically ways to get contrast of color and be able to create depth. So when you take a photo, you want to like have multiple layers in the photo. You want the foreground, you want the background. It's all about the photos. If I could tell you any one thing, your photos need to look great, because that's what gets somebody to show up, and then you've got to deliver on the back end and have good reviews. That's it. So everything we've done for the sake of photos. The cool lights, everything like that. Some artwork from Marshalls. We went to IKEA 3 times in the last 24 hours. Now, in other parts of the space, we've, for example, each kitchen did not have the goods, right? So if you Airbnb as a host, you should understand that the reason why people choose an Airbnb over a hotel is they want a home instead of a hotel. Well, what does a home have? Like every time, a home has a kitchen. And what does a kitchen have? It has pots and pans and plates and stuff like that. If you go to an extended stay hotel, they'll sell you pots and pans for like $40. We're obligated though to kind of provide them, aren't we? So we just kind of like balled out in the kitchen. We got our favorite knife set. We got pots and pans and plates and a coffee maker, decaf coffee, all of the works. What's cool about this is when we set up one kitchen, they're all identical. So all we had to do is take some good photos of one kitchen, and then we could just get busy furnishing out the living rooms in order to make the listings, right? Because the only things we needed to do was get new photos of all the unique spaces. Some of the living rooms are identical, check. Some of the bedrooms are identical, which we'll talk about in a second, check. And then just the unique spaces, we needed new photos. So what did we do in the bedrooms? Well, the mattresses, the queen size ones, were kind of junk. So what we did is we bought 4-inch memory foam toppers, and just for $100 a piece, turned his old springy, like hostel mattresses into like more luxury feeling ones. We also upgraded the pillows. So we spent about $80 per bed on pillows, because the quality of sleep, I talk about this all the time, quality of sleep is everything. We also bought rugs that go and frame around the bed, and we bought some extra lighting, and we bought some extra decor like plants and cool lamps and stuff like that. Now, we still need to also buy some wall art for the bedrooms, but for now, we're able to take photos based on how we frame the photo. We can have less wall in the shot, so the fact that the wall is kind of blank at this moment is okay. It buys us some time. We can make the listings. We make them happen. So that's what we've done in this one to upgrade them. It's costed us about $1,200 maybe to $1,500 per unit to upgrade them. And where he had it for $75 a night, we have people booking the weekends for like $160 a night. Isn't that cool? Getting almost an extra $100 a night in some of these spots. So far, because we only have 2 of the listings up. This will be the 3rd. So now let's talk about the other Houston deal. We are moving 5 apartments from a building in Houston because one leasing company that we've worked with for 4 years has changed their stance on short-term rentals and have asked us to discontinue. So there's one lease we lost there. There's another building that we've had for 4 years that sold to new management, and they didn't want to renew our leases, so they non-renewed our leases. And what we did is we did what's called a holdover, right? So we had 4 apartments in the building. We had 2 leases ending, let's say like September. We have 2 leases ending in November. What we did is after our leases ended in September, we didn't move out. We just kept them and paid the month-to-month rate because we were able to be profitable. And we decided we're going to hold all the furniture and move out of the whole building at the same time. So we held our lease longer than we were technically signed up for. But once your lease ends, once they give you non-renewal, they still have to give you notice to vacate, right? So your lease, when it ends, you can still stay there in what's called a holdover. So we did a holdover to time the move of the 5 leases, and we're moving those to a new building in the medical center, and we found some really cool floor plans, and so we're taking 10 apartments instead of just 5, and we're using this opportunity to grow our portfolio because since we negotiated 10 leases, we got an extra 2 weeks free of rent on all 10. We already got a month free, and then we said, hey, we want an extra 2 weeks on all of them. And they're like, yeah, sure, cool. Bang. So that's nothing special, regular deal. Now the option one was kind of fun. So we told this building that we'll start with 4, and if it's going well, we'll take up to 10. So we have 4 coming on board, possibly 5. I think actually 5 coming on board in a suburb of Dallas. It's not quite Richardson, but it's up there. It's by SMU, which is good. Surprisingly though, the ramp up of these listings didn't go nearly as fast as we'd like them to go, but we did pick up a couple long terms and things are starting to come around, but we activated them all at the same time. And I think part of that was, so we had a slow first week. And these we actually just set up within the last 10 days. So we're not counting that in our 40, the first 4. So it's a little slow to ramp up, but it looks promising. We are getting a good enough rate on these things. We're profitable, so we're going to take more. And right now we're not in the best time of year in Dallas for Airbnb. So last month was killer. We actually did about 22,000 more in cash flow than I thought we were going to do, which is cool. So that's the option one. Essentially, when you have the power in a negotiation, you can kind of make up terms. And so we said, we're willing to negotiate 10 units under this deal. And they agreed to that deal. And we said, we're not sure if your property is going to be profitable enough, but the building sounded kind of eager to get the deal done. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to start with 4, and we're going to take another 4 like in 3 weeks or a month. And then we'll take another 2 after that. As long as everything goes well, we're going to commit to the schedule. We always had the option to accelerate and take them sooner. But if we don't like the building, it's just like a trouble where we're going to eject the last few. We'll hold on to the ones that we've signed for, but we always have the option to drop them without moving the agreement. Cool. So that's that deal. Philadelphia, our 10 unit with the option of 20 total has been taking forever because they want to try to give us extra costs. Like we're 100% liable for all maintenance, repairs, and costs and stuff like that, but without any discounts on rent. So we've been kind of held up on that deal. We'll see more on that one. But this one, we're taking about 21 units. We started with a negotiation of 28. I cut the rent by 30% in my first offer. He's like, this is like $600,000 less than I want to get paid during your lease term, because we offered a 3-year lease. He's like, you're going to give me $660,000 less in rent than I want. How can we make this work? I'm like, well, let's cut it down to the 22 that I like, and I'll up the rent like by 10%, and I'll use your housekeepers at the building, and so I'll pay you for your housekeepers. What's cool about this though is I gave him an agreement to pay his housekeepers at our optimal weekly cost. Sometimes when our life was hard, we pay our housekeepers by the hour. This is what you need to know. We pay our housekeepers hourly. When we have a really bad month, as in like we have a lot of last minute bookings, we still get a lot of occupancy, we still jam a lot of revenue, but our housekeepers are worked to death because we have so many one-day stays. That's a lot of hours. We agreed to give him a flat monthly rate per door. So in busy seasons, cool. It's about what we would typically expect to pay. In slow season, when we have to scrap and get a lot of bookings, I get a lean on his housekeepers more. What's great is his housekeepers are like salaried, I think is kind of the agreement. So it's like less skin off of his back. So we created this mutual agreement with the builder. Before construction was done, we agreed to finalize 22 doors. One of those was a 3-bedroom that got leased. So it got kicked out of the deal because we couldn't take it fast enough. So we ended up with 21 net doors. We just signed our first lease today. We signed our first lease in Houston for the 10 units today. We are taking the 4 or 5 more Saturday in Dallas, and then we took these 8 units like 5 days ago. So like we're talking about like within 14 days we're taking these 40 units. So with this special deal in Philadelphia, we dropped the rent by 30%. I came up on an average of 10% on all of them. 70% of 100 is 70. Well, what's 10% more of 70? It's not 80, is it? When I add 10% back in after taking 30% off, I'm actually only adding 7, right? So I dropped it 30%, right? And then I gave 10% of that back, which means I still got 23% off of the rents. And I gave him an agreement to do a flat monthly rate per door for his housekeepers. As long as they do a good job, we'll keep using them, which insulates me against slow season. I did these at a 5 every 2 weeks with an option to accelerate, and we've already taken the option to accelerate, so we're actually taking 16 leases within like 10 days, where we normally would have taken 6 weeks to get those done. So that's the whole deal flow and kind of how we arrived to the terms that we did. Now, about 4 or 5 days ago, I put in the order for 10 apartments in like Philadelphia, so right now everything's just arriving in Philadelphia. A fan of the channel, Gabriel, he's actually in Philadelphia right now with my manager, John. My assistant, Dwayne, is here in Houston with me and Kat. And then Haley just is a rock star. She does everything. So she's handling Dallas. Good for her. So that brings me to the big part of this, which is like, how is it possible, right? So how do I do 40 apartments at the same time? Well, there's different components to this. Each deal has to get negotiated. You have to promise the landlord that you'll take possession within a certain period of time. You have to budget the amount of money it's going to cost per door, and then you have to effectively execute and get each door to market fast enough that you're not sitting on dead leases for too long, right? So You have human capital, you have labor hours that it takes to get an apartment done. So let's just break this down into kind of like an operational example. Every time that I tell a landlord I'm going to take leases, I have to tell them I'm going to take them within 8 weeks. So I negotiated 40 doors, except these 8 were a rescue, right? So let's just say 30 doors, because I want to keep it a round number. We have 30 doors. We're signing new leases with new deposits, new rents. We get front-end lease concessions, 4, 6 weeks, 8 weeks free. So for this example, let's say we get 4 weeks free. We activate all of them middle of the month. 30 leases middle of the month. When we signed the leases, we have to give a deposit, $300 to $700 on average on all 30, and then we have to pay a prorated first month's rent, which is a half of rent. A lot of our rents are like $1,300-ish, right? So we have to pay about $650 in rent, plus our $300 to $700 in deposits on the way in, and then the next month we get for free. So we're skating 6 weeks off of that initial investment, which is like, you could say, $1,000 to $1,400, right? So we're riding for 6 weeks for $1,000 to $1,400. Now we try to build out the unit for a certain amount of money, and we on a 1-bedroom try to get in for about another $3,600 or less. Now where the big spends are is you're spending $80 on just pillows on the bed. You're buying a nice like mattress, probably $350, $400. You're going to build out the kitchen with knives and plates and cups and everything. You buy a bunch of linens and towels, and the couch will cost you, maybe $350 if you do the rollaway bed combo. So $350 and then another $250 for like a memory foam rollaway bed, and that's $600. But you can sleep 2 people that way. The TV is like $300. Those are where your bigger cost clusters are, and then the rugs can be like $100. Accent chairs can be $100, $150. You can get tables and chairs for cheap, so you might spend $300 on tables and chairs. So at the end of it all, you can get in, like decor and all, for $3,600. So at this point, your top end number is $5,000 a door. I use this number all the time as an example because it's actually a very real number. So now, I need $150,000 to play with. And so on the front end though, depending on how we activate these, we could stagger them, which we did like a cash management video. I'm going to link that for you. If you stagger them, you don't need all $150,000. And then in addition to $150,000 for rents and build out over the 6 weeks, you need to pay your staff. So each apartment, to ship in everything, unbox everything, I would say takes somewhere between 8 and 12 hours of labor to set up a house. We have these frames that you just kind of kick out the frames for the bed. You put the mattress on top, and you have the headboard that goes behind it. You don't have to assemble it. You can move a couch in that doesn't require any assemble. If you hire like a buy it from a retailer, they'll just move the stuff in. Some retailers will assemble all the stuff you buy from them. If you buy things on Amazon and you want to save on labor hours, look for stuff that's easy to assemble. If you go to IKEA, you're going to of course be paying people to shop for you. So I really recommend buying as much online as possible and then going to somewhere like IKEA or Marshall's Home Goods to fill in the cracks. So save money by saving time by making sure that everything is easy to assemble, because there's some stuff that's super tedious. Like there's some bookshelves that just take way too long. There's some entertainment centers that just take way too long. Skip it, right? You're going to spend $40 extra or $60 extra on labor to buy a piece of furniture because it was cheap, but it was assembled yourself. Factor in that as part of your final cost. And then the process of unboxing and everything. My rule is you're furnishing an apartment. You get all of your furniture in, and the goal is to take everything, unbox it, and take all the trash and remove it from the property. So now you're left with all of your products, your cups, your plates, your towels, and everything. All the plastic, all the cardboard, all the packing peanuts, it's gone in the hallway. This helps you because as you try to get everything like designed and appropriated, you're not going through a sea of cardboard. And Amazon has a lot of packaging, and I'll tell you that it'll ruin your focus. So if you want your time to market to be fast, step 1, get all of your stuff out, do a quick inventory, make sure that your order has everything in it. And in our course, we talk about how to do proper inventory control, and that's actually coming out soon, or may have already come out by the time this video hit. Way cool, right? So you get everything out, you take your proper inventory, make sure everything's good, you start to set it all up, and you can get this done in 48 hours. You can get it up in 48 hours, and then you want to get your photos up. Now, I recommend getting a ton of identical units at the same time, and that's what we're doing now. So out of the 40 units that we have, 8 of them are nearly identical. The option of 4 that we're taking, or 5 in Dallas, those are going to be all identical. And they're identical to the first 4 we took, so we can actually make the listings before we even start unboxing and pre-market for a few days. Wicked, right? The next 10 we're doing in Houston, they're not going to be identical, so there's going to be a little bit of a slowdown, but because we're moving 5 units, the other 5 will buy everything to be identical. And so that way we can set up one property, take photos, and then try to use those photos for the marketing of the other ones that we're still getting ready, right? So you're creating your marketing channels before your product's even on the market, which is cool. The 21 that we're doing in Philadelphia, there's gonna be 2 key different design styles. So we're gonna get 2 apartments done and ready, and we're gonna take photos of those and make a bunch of listings and then continue to build them out and just have the dates of availability like blocked off until those are ready. And if they're ready early, we just open up those dates. So that's how we do multiple. We plan our number of labor hours. We try not to do so many at the same time that we have to hire a bunch of temp workers. So because I have a big enough team in in 3 cities, we can get this done because we're gonna be done with these 8 by the time we're really hauling on these other 10 in Houston. Dallas has got it covered, and I've got a good crew in Philadelphia taking leases like every 3 or 5 days. So they can get 2 or 3 done. 5 days later, they're gonna do 2 or 3 more. So our projects extend in time based on how much staff we have available. If you wanted to do them all same day, you'd hire like 40 people and they'd be running through all of your properties, like tearing through boxes and getting everything done. It's still gonna cost you the same number of labor hours, right? So if it takes 12 hours per door and you have 40 doors, you're looking at like 500 hours of labor-ish, 480 hours of labor, right? So good people are hard to find. So if you want to do something big like this, find a few really good people, really invest in them, show them a lot of what it takes to run the business, show them this channel on Airbnb, get them good, and then really invest in their success. And if you have to dip into some temp labor workers, okay. One thing I like to do though is I like to hire on housekeepers, the ones that will be actually cleaning this future property early, and have them help me with the unboxing and trash removal as I'm doing all the assembly. And those housekeepers may like the extra hours, so they'll help you hang up like paintings and unbox all the plates and put everything in the kitchen and get everything ready. So hire some housekeepers as you launch, and they can become part of your setup team. And that's one way to kind of double dip in your staff. So there's a lot there, I know. There's a good fun rant about how to pick up some properties. I hope this was helpful. Remember to like the video and comment some stuff. Just say some things for the sake of the video's life. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching Airbnb Automated. More to come, and I'll see you on the other side.